Breaking news! What if I told you the Baltimore Ravens are about to make the boldest move in franchise history, one that could catapult them to Super Bowl glory or plunge the entire organization into chaos? The kind of move fans will be talking about for decades, for better or for worse. Because what's happening behind the scenes right now isn't just replacing a coach, it's rewriting the DNA of this team. And believe me, the names involved, the conversations happening, and the high-stakes decisions being considered, it's much bigger than anyone imagined. But before we dive into the storm brewing in Baltimore, don't forget to like this post if you're a true Ravens fan. It's always amazing to see fans of all ages supporting this team. And if you want, comment "Go Ravens" right now to show you're ready for this exciting journey. So, let's dive straight into the chaos, shall we? For starters, owner Steve Bisciotti has finally stepped into the spotlight, and when he spoke, he didn't hold back. It's rare to hear directly from Bisciotti, but during his recent press conference, he silenced all rumors, backed Lamar Jackson in full, and shut down all those whispers about a rift between Lamar and the previous coaching staff. And let's be honest, fans have been wondering for years why Bisciotti doesn't talk more often. After that performance, he might not have to talk again for another 7 years. He said enough to shake the entire Ravens community to its core. He acknowledged what everyone watching the games already knew. This team hasn't just been underperforming, they've been collapsing. Game after game, season after season, the Ravens have been finding new and creative ways to fall apart when it matters most. And with Harbaugh finally out, Bisciotti is now all in on finding someone who can finish the job. Not just a motivator, not just a leader, but a closer. And that's where the story gets even more interesting. The Ravens have exploded into action, casting an incredibly wide net across the NFL landscape. At the time of this recording, they've already interviewed over a dozen coaching candidates, and the diversity in names and experience levels is staggering. From seasoned defensive minds like Vance Joseph and Brian Flores, to offensive architects like Clint Kubiak and Matt Nagy, Baltimore is pulling from every angle. But perhaps what's even more telling is the type of people they're talking to. Bisciotti made one thing very clear: a coach's past record won't be held against them. He compared it to a player struggling in a bad system and thriving once given a fresh opportunity. Just look at Odafoa. He couldn't sniff a sack in Baltimore, then went to the Chargers and exploded for 10.5 sacks including the postseason. It's not about what you did, it's about what you can do when given the right pieces. Still, for some fans, names like Kevin Stefanski and Cliff Kingsbury sparked concern. The fear is understandable. With someone like Stefanski, people worry about what he did, or didn't do, for quarterbacks like Shedeur Sanders. The thought of him trying to manage Lamar Jackson is enough to make Ravens fans break into a cold sweat. But then there's Jesse Minter. The current Chargers defensive coordinator and former Ravens assistant has quietly surged in popularity, not just because of his ties to the organization, but because of what he did with Odafoa. 3 sacks and 2 forced fumbles in a playoff game? That's not just improvement, that's development, and Ravens fans have been starving for player development, especially on the defensive side. Speaking of defense, another name that's generating momentum is Brian Flores. Controversial? Sure, but also intense, no nonsense, and aggressive, everything this team hasn't been in years. Ravens fans know the defense has lacked that old-school Ravens bite, and Flores might be the one to bring it back. He turned the Vikings defense around without household names. What could he do with Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith, and maybe even a big-ticket addition like Max Crosby? Yes, you heard that right. General Manager Eric DeCosta hinted that if they can restructure Lamar's deal, a splash move could be on the table. Someone like Crosby wouldn't just bolster the pass rush, he'd transform it. It's hard to overstate how desperately the Ravens need a closer on the defensive line, someone who can end games instead of letting them slip away. But the most important piece is still the head coach, because the Ravens aren't in rebuild mode. This team is ready. They have Lamar Jackson, the most unique quarterback in football. They have Derrick Henry, a backfield wrecking ball. Kyle Hamilton, a safety unicorn hybrid. Zay Flowers, a rising star. And let's not forget Mark Andrews, who still has plenty left in the tank. This team isn't about to start from scratch. They just need someone who can finish. Because now, it's time to talk about the real pressure surrounding this decision, and why this head coaching hire might be the single most consequential move the Ravens have made in decades. See, it's not just about finding a competent coach. It's about finding someone who can survive the expectations. This is Baltimore, not a team entering a rebuild or trying to squeak into the playoffs for a feel-good story. No, this team is supposed to contend for a Super Bowl right now, and anything less than that will feel like failure. That means whoever steps into that office better be ready to carry a franchise loaded with weapons, weighed down by pressure, and haunted by years of postseason heartbreak. What's fascinating is that the Ravens' job isn't just attractive, it's arguably the most attractive job opening in the NFL. Don't believe me? Look around. Falcons? Quarterback questions. Titans? Long rebuild ahead. Raiders? Chaos. Dolphins? Cap space nightmares and potential quarterback turnover. But the Ravens? They've got Lamar Jackson. They've got star power. They've got cap flexibility if they make the right moves. And they've got an owner who, for better or worse, just made it clear he's all in. And that's part of what makes this whole thing so nerve-wracking. Because Steve Bisciotti didn't just pull the plug on a 15-year partnership with John Harbaugh for the sake of change. He did it because he expects more. In fact, he said it himself, these past 3 years, we've been going backwards. That statement alone tells you that this isn't about one playoff loss or one regular season collapse. This is about a long-term trend, and Bisciotti decided it was finally time to stop hoping for different results from the same formula. So what kind of coach do the Ravens need? Offensive genius? Defensive mastermind? It doesn't really matter. What they need is someone who can lead. Someone who can command the room, challenge Lamar Jackson to be his absolute best, hold players accountable, and make decisions under pressure that don't end in blown leads and heartache. That's where someone like Brian Flores starts to look even more appealing. Forget the politics and focus on the football. He brings a mindset this team sorely lacks. He preaches discipline, aggression, and toughness, traits the Ravens used to be known for. Kyle Hamilton would thrive in his system. So would Roquan. So would the young, hungry pieces scattered across this roster. But if leadership is the top priority, Jesse Minter's name isn't going away either. The work he's done with the Chargers defense and his previous stint in Baltimore make him a logical choice. He understands the organization's culture, but he's not just a Harbaugh guy. He's built a reputation in his own right, one based on developing talent, adjusting schemes, and turning promise into production. And don't overlook the quiet power play that might be happening behind the scenes. Some fans believe Lamar Jackson himself had influence in this decision, even though Bisciotti went out of his way to say that Lamar has no power. But here's the thing, that statement may have had more to do with optics than reality. Because let's be honest, when your franchise quarterback is a two-time MVP, his opinion does carry weight, whether the owner wants to admit it or not. Then there's the elephant in the room. What about Harbaugh's legacy? There's no denying what he accomplished. A Super Bowl, countless playoff appearances, and an unwavering standard of professionalism. But as many fans have pointed out, the last 5 years have felt like a loop. A regular season surge followed by postseason disappointment. The magic was gone. The message had gone stale. And Bisciotti knew it. This wasn't just about wins and losses. It was about the energy inside the building, and whether it was time for a new voice to lead the charge. Now, the franchise is on the verge of rewriting its identity. And that brings us back to the stakes. Whoever the Ravens hire next will be expected to win immediately. This isn't a soft landing spot. This is a job where 13-4 and a playoff loss will already raise eyebrows. The fan base is demanding results. The front office has shown it's willing to take risks. And Steve Bisciotti just made it clear that he won't hesitate to pull the trigger again if things don't work. So, who's it going to be? Will it be the fiery disciplinarian and Brian Flores? The quiet tactician Jesse Minter? A surprise name that no one's even talking about yet? Ravens fans, let's hear from you. Which candidate do you believe is the right fit to lead this team to the next level? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the breakdown, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out more Ravens content on the screen right now.